I'm just this crazy composer that wrote this horn typical when Titus invited me to write the Lift Every Voice Fantasia arrangement, and I heard Amanda on all these supremely wonderful musicians together. I said, you know what? That sound is so good. I need to write Amanda a piece. And lo and behold, a few months later, the on suite came to be, So I owe her, Amanda, I owe you a lot of, gratitude, because I've never written for solo horn before. And so the input you gave me, the capabilities and all of that, sometimes I'll behave as if I wasn't listening, but all of that sank in, and a few other crazy stuff crept in there, but you were able to handle, so professional. So this is the cast of the premiere, the two premieres. So why don't we just surprise me? What was the process like? We can start with Donna Amanda. What was the process like?
Well, my first approach when I got the music, I don't know if you remember, but I had just had Addie, and I was like, I looked at it and I was like, freaked out because I was like, I'm not playing the horn right now, and this seems like a lot. But as I started to work on it, I just listened to it a lot, and my whole creative process when I'm learning new music or any music is to sort of come up with what is this trying to say? What am I trying to say through this? What is the mood? What is the energy? Like if I had to set an intention for each movement or goal, if you want, that's sort of how I work through it. And one of the things I really loved about the piece, just right off the bat, is how different all of the characters were, if you will, in the pieces. I just felt like each one was something new and different and interesting, and I really liked that. Um, Putting it together with Rachel, I mean, I felt like that was really organic once we both had time with it by ourselves and just sort of figured out what we were trying to say and how our parts fit together. It came together nicely in rehearsals. There were a couple moments where we were sort of confused about, and I don't want to speak for Rachel, and I know Rachel will speak in a moment, but there were a couple of moments where we were confused about how, like, the math of the music, right, checked out. So how we lined up our parts together and like what I could listen for to make sure that my parts were in cue or in sync with her. The final stage of putting it together with Safi and Jaha was it was fine for me because I trust Fred. Like Fred is the energy. I trust you. And you said it will be fine. They're gonna show up and they're gonna bring the magic. And I was like, okay. And y'all did because it was amazing. Like I couldn't see the dancing, but when I tell you the response from the audience, the energy that first time we did it, and then the second time too, but that first time, that changed some people's lives seeing a performance like that. And the second time too, in front of all of those composers and new music enthusiasts, like blew their minds. They've never seen anything like it. And so, Fred, you started off by saying you owe me a lot. I don't think you owe me anything because I see this very much as like, I'm so glad that the universe brought us together on that project. This has been probably one of my favorite projects in my career. Just doing something like this that speaks to my heart as a person of color. I don't know, Safi and Jaha, if you know this, but I'm actually half Black, and my family has traced their ancestry back through slavery and whatnot. But it's just been so nice for me to feel grounded in this energy, and like I told you, this ancestral energy. um, this is what makes my heart sing. So it's been great. And I look forward very much. I'm hoping to bring this to other people and other communities. They need to see things like you need to see people like us doing what we do. Um,
Right.
and I think there's a lot of opportunity for all of us in that. So
Absolutely.
Fred,
That's the plan.
if you want to talk about specifics, Fred, in the music, let me know. But otherwise that's just my general overview.
Good. No, this is good. Rachel, pianista Rachel.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my the thing that I want to say most echoes or supports what Amanda said, and that bringing together the music that we rehearsed, your music with Safi and Jaha, that was so entirely so enjoyable. I had some ideas about what the mood or what the sentiment was of each of these movements, but then getting to perform and watch Safi because I could see Safi. Um, and I love dance. In another life, I would be a dancer. So I just after we had our brief rehearsal before the first performance, I had all of these new ideas about what I could be doing within each movement because I was inspired by you, Safi. And then I really enjoy. I got worried when we didn't have time to rehearse when we were adding the percussion, but I think that these two styles, bringing together these elements of music, really worked in this suite. And so that also was very enjoyable to me. Um,
Yeah, Wendy, you want to jump in about playing Crazy Fredo real quick before Safi and Jack come in?
They're both being so modest. Yeah, those of us who've played Fredo, we know the blood, sweat, and tears that have to go into to conquering, especially the rhythms. I find as a classically trained musician that these are new rhythms to me. And like Amanda, you mentioned, does this math add up? Yes, they totally have to do that quite a lot with Fredo. So how do you, as a classically trained performer, approach these new rhythms, both you and Rachel and Amanda?
I think one of the things that makes me well suited to play this piece. So my dad is a musician too, and he's primarily a jazz musician. And jazz has many roots in, tribal music and tribal rhythms, ancient rhythms. And so growing up my whole life, we didn't have the internet because I'm old. So like, there's just music all the time, records, CDs, tapes. And my dad wired our house so that there was sound speakers on every floor, and then we play the same
That's
music.
the 80s dad. Oh my gosh, I love
They were
it.
like big speakers too, like they took up a lot of space, but they sounded great. They're analog. And anyway, so I think for me, it's funny, right? Because I'm half black. And so I have like one foot in black music and the black world of music. There's a lot of it. And then I have the other foot in like the traditional, is the way I see it, is like the Western way of doing things and the like conservatory way of doing things. And when I approach it with my conservatory mind, like if I'm playing with a symphony or something like that, it is very much like one and two and three and I need to make sure that I line up with the oboe here and I need to, things like that. And Rachel and I sort of like talked about that a little bit, but honestly, my approach to these rhythms was listening to my soul and just sort of feeling them. What is the movement?
Mm.
What is that? Is that the third movement?
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's a second. It's a second. It's a second
second
movement.
second.
homage.
So that one, I'm listening to the MIDI that you gave me, and I'm like, one and two and like trying to and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm just gonna let it flow.
That's
And
right.
Rachel told me, she was like, listen, you just put it where you want. I'm just gonna keep time for you. And I was like, okay. And so once we had that negotiation, if you will, like, and I realized I don't have to be a mathematician to play this. This is speaking to my soul. This is something that's very much emotional for me. So why am I gonna play it like, disconnected like that? So long story short, I played at the rhythms, but I just let them flow the way they came out of the bell. As long as I knew where one was, we were fine.
The way it
That
should.
sounds so familiar. I'm thinking of Nain Kansu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. It's if you get into just counting it, you're going to go crazy. But the minute you let go and just feel it, so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Sa for the dancer, senior.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I'll have to say, um, well, what really keeps me going is the music. Sometimes I will do one thing in rehearsal, but in front of the audience, I do something different because I hear the music differently. And I felt like, when I do a rehearsal, it's kind of rushed and I'm just cramming something together just to fill in the music. But when I'm in front of the audience, it feels like I'm taking my time and I'm actually thinking about the music and not thinking about the audience. Like I just disappear and just listen to the music, and that allows me to put on a better performance. Um, but I think my favorite part was actually rehearsing. I don't know why, but I liked when we were all together. We were kind of like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We only had one rehearsal, but I think that was my favorite part. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's your turn, man. You had all of those rhythms and they were all written, and you can only read music this little tingy bit. So how did you approach?
Well, yes, I can read music a little bit, but mostly what I did is eventually I memorized the pieces, so I know what Miss Amanda's gonna do, I know what Miss Rachel's gonna do. And so I just play along the lines of that. And plus you've already let me know what you like to hear. So and plus the audience likes to hear the percussion as well. I think it fits well. It's not over the top. I try not to play really loud. I try to fit right in that wave. Um, it was really nice seeing it all come together, with the dances and the music and along with it. I think it brings a certain element with it. That's really it as far as me. I like seeing Safi dance. I like drumming. That's just me.
Safi, do we have you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good, good. I was just telling them that you choreograph the whole thing, No ideas from me. I only told you Shango's story, and at 15, to us artists, that's just beyond impressive. So you want to talk a little bit for your age, your artistic age group out there about your creative genius and prowess?
Um, well, when I started teaching dance at 8 years old, it opened up a different kind of mindset because there's a difference between dancing and actually teaching. And when I first started doing, because the only thing that I really knew was African dance. And I was thinking to myself, how can I, some of these movements don't add up to what the story is. And so how am I supposed to make this all look good, fit in the beat? But then I just start letting my soul dance for me instead of just thinking about it. That's why sometimes when there's a difference between what I do in the rehearsal and what I actually do on stage. Because when I'm dancing on stage, my soul completely takes over. My mind is just on autopilot. My body is just doing what it needs to do in order for not only the dancing to look good, but for the music to actually look good and the show look good. And the story, it it touches my soul, and my movements are like, this is the story, this is the story. And make sure you're telling the story as you're dancing. So sometimes if it's a sad story, I'm doing more dramatic movements. If it's a happy story, I'm happy feet, happy feet, happy feet. So yeah.
Hello, guys. I'm looking forward that we can take this suite into the world. Amanda, Rachel, I don't know what you all think, but I'm hoping that we can share this with more people out there, so that's hopefully really grateful that you all could share your experiences. So thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Fred.
Bye.
I love you, Noam Fred.
Love
Bye.
you.
Love you,
all.
Tom
Love you
Wendy.
I
all.
love you. Love
It's
you
nice
guys.
talking to you guys again.
Bye.
Bye.
Till next time.
Bye.